Welcome to the space where creators have aligned a positive and intellectual collab of open minds. For sharing and learning from one another, it's a vibe. ReadswithRosa podcast on the mic. Subscribe, educators spitting bars. I guess you didn't know I'm multifaceted and humble, checking off life goals. The classroom is my comfort zone where I plant and sow seeds of knowledge, compassion, empathy, and hope. Reading is the key to unlocking your potential. Countless benefits, including cognitive and mental. Regardless of the genre, books are highly influential. Go get yours, I'll get mine. Making strides, monumental. And rock with me and get down to this new jam. With my friends, I had a very simple plan. Educate the masses through books and life lessons. It's the grand slam. I'm out.
Talo falava, malo elele, and welcome to the Reads with Rosa podcast. We have a very special guest today. She's a PhD student and the creator of Vision Board, a platform that inspires, shares knowledge, and empowers Pasifika folks. She is an advocate for social justice, and as a woman of the Moana, she's basically out here reminding everyone that Polynesian women are dope. Joining us from Utah, it is my honor to introduce to you our Tongan sister, Pauline Fonua. Welcome to the show, sis.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Can you tell? I'm excited. I'm fangirling out here, trying to get a grip, keep it together. Welcome to the show. How are you? How are things in your part of the world?
It's good. I'm located on the indigenous lands of ᴘᴏᴟᴘᴅᴜ Ute territory, and so on Turtle Island. So, just trying to be mindful of the indigenous people here on this land that I'm occupying right now, but I feel so grateful to be able to share space and get to talk about one of my biggest passions, and that's being a Pasifika Moana woman. So yeah.
I'm excited. Well, before we get into it, let's hear your villages, your fam. Like, where are you from? Where are your people from?
Malole Gainga ᴘᴏᴏᴘᴜᴇ� Pauline Fonua. My parents are Mele Moala from Tokomololo, and my dad is Ofafai Vaula Fonua from Homa. And so I'm a descendant of Tonga and Oceania, and yeah, those are the villages I come from in the islands, and then I live in the diaspora, so just in areas known as Utah. So yeah.
Oh, you are a daughter, a mother, a sister, you're an auntie, you're a wife, you're a friend, you're a student, lifelong learner. When you reflect on your hopes and dreams, as younger Pauline, at this point of your life, are you content with where you are and what you've been able to achieve thus far?
Yeah, I think I would surprise, like, if my younger self could see me now, they would be extremely surprised, because growing up in the United States, like, I struggled with schooling my whole life, just because, the education system is not meant for us. It wasn't like a system that really tried to teach Black and Brown people, especially Indigenous knowledge. And so I always felt like I fell short of like my education journeys throughout my upbringing. And like I didn't really have a hard time reading or anything like that. It was just that the material was just not very inclusive when I was attending school. And so I really felt like I didn't belong in school. And it really poured out to the way also people treated me at school, as well as like within my own family. And people would be like, oh, Lena, she's not that smart. She doesn't know, like, she doesn't know these things. And so I really took on that stereotype of not feeling smart, like, throughout my upbringing. And it really showed on, like, my markings in school because, it really felt like my markings in school pretty much told me who I was as a person, and having low markings really made me feel like I wasn't worth a lot, and that I couldn't contribute to um, what 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 I was hoping to pursue in life. And so I didn't know, like, I never really had a vision or a dream for myself as a younger kid because a lot of my life, um, I told myself that my worth came from being smart. And
Mm.
so it wasn't until recently did I realize, um, I am smart. I'm just smart in a different way. So yeah, I'm sorry. Did I roundabout answer?
No, I mean, um, you said it was only until recently, but you've gone through your undergrad studies and then you did postgrad. But at what point did it change for you? Did you get that courage and that confidence to apply? To go to university, to go to college. Like what happened? Like, was it the end of high school, or did you just go for it? At what point did you? Because the reason why I ask is like when we all go through those, those moments in life where we feel we're not good enough, and we're being compared, and then there's stereotypes, and there's all of that against us. So what was it that really pushed you to take that big step, you know?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So it wasn't until came across like this Samoan woman who knew like I was very involved in what we call high school here in the States. And that would be like equivalent to college in,
Mm,
New Zealand or Australia. And she was like, "Are you going to college?" I'm like, "Why would I do that?" I'm like,
mm,
I have no idea how to even get into college. And she actually like helped me she looked at my GPA or my grade point average and realized that it was actually a really decent like in high school I had decent markings, and she got me like this scholarship called the presidential scholarship, and it paid for all my schooling. And it's interesting because I didn't think I could go to college for one thing because I felt like I couldn't ask my parents for money,
mm,
just because they give me so much already that they really don't have money to put me through school. And so that was gonna be one of the reasons why I didn't go to college. But, I realized that a lot of my passion in high school was I wanted to, like, do something in the world and help, um, save the animals and save
mm,
the Pacific, and I realized that I actually needed to go to school to do that. And that was one of the reasons why I ended up going to school, and when I applied for the scholarship, a lot of my, um, story was that I really wanted to help the world out, and so, um, yeah, that's why things changed for me is because, um, living in a capitalistic society, you can't really go anywhere unless you plan on getting your degree, and I mean, like, you can for so few people who have the privilege to do that, but for the
mm,
most part, like, a lot of us fall under, like, these systems where you do need, a degree, a certificate that shows that you're qualified for the work, and, so yeah, that's
mm.
one of the major reasons.
Yeah, when I hear, friends from the US talk about student debt and talking about how how expensive it is to go to college and how some of them worked 3-4 jobs. I mean, yeah, it's just really mind blowing like that, because obviously in New Zealand, there's student loans and, you can pay it back. There are certain thresholds once you've finished studying and you work and then you start paying it back. But to think that, some of my friends were working 3-4 different jobs just to get through undergrad studies. And then a lot of them went on to postgrad and then more,
Yeah.
man.
We're product of a really capitalistic society, and so we're always going to be in debt, especially when capitalism is the function of your community or your society. And living in the US, being in debt is such a like way to keep people into poverty, and in which a lot of people fall into forms of oppression because they are held to these strict principles of debt. So yeah.
And do many of your siblings or cousins, extended family, were they able to go on to college and study or do, other?
Yeah, like I have a few first cousins. As of right now, I'm the only graduate out of my household, like out of my siblings. It's hard because like going to school in the US, and maybe people can relate to this in other areas, it's really hard to be in school with like immigrant parents because a lot of times immigrant parents have like these expectations that are not very much like that don't coincide with like a college life. And so like, my parents would be like, why are you at school late, and I would be in the library till midnight just trying to write an essay because I didn't have access to a computer at home, or like I didn't have internet at home. And so like I think a lot of times because my parents come from a very Christian background, it was always scary for them to see that I was out late, just trying to do things. And their fear was that I would lose like my virtue or whatnot of itself. And like that's none of your business what people do with their life. But yeah, like having to navigate immigrant parents while you're in college is like a job in of itself. Like trying to have them trust you and let and like succeed and everything. So there's just a lot of things that immigrant children have to navigate that other children don't.
When you think about identity and how to, like Tongan culture, values, how were you able to stay connected or find that balance, like navigating, coming through school, facing microaggressions, facing stereotypes? Like, how were you able to deal with that, or at least face that, but also try and hold on? Oh, I don't know, like, be true to who you are as a young Polynesian, Tongan, woman. Like, oh.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we see about stereotypes is that there's some partial truth to those stereotypes. It doesn't have to be like our whole truth. It can just be something that we recognize and that we don't necessarily have to make that our whole life. And in the US, in education, like Pacific Islanders have like the stereotype of being athletes, and if you're not an athlete, that's that like really tells your worth for some people too. And without an athletic identity, it kind of makes people feel less than. And just because every family's hoping that their child will make it into the NFL and will be able to bring them out of like this poverty, will able to like transpire to move them through like gaining social mobility. And that's not necessarily the case for a lot of Pacific Islanders. And also women do experience Pacific Islander women do experience a little bit of challenge with the Pacific Islander athlete stereotype, because a lot of families will pour into their sons and not really think about their daughters pursuing an education as well. And so while families are leaning into their sons to make it into these professional sports, that really disrupts like progressing Pacific Islander women in education, as well as progressing them to be strong manawa hines, and yeah, I think navigating these stereotypes is about leaning into some of like the good things that come from it, and then while also recognizing some of the challenges that might be a form of oppression to people too, and recognizing that both can coexist. Like while someone is succeeding in football, there is the oppression of, someone not reaping the benefits, or not having the same resources and access to resource. And so, but as for like learning to lean into my culture and remember who I am, while I'm undergoing like while I'm navigating through these stereotypes, I think like one of the things that I really appreciate doing is surrounding myself with community and making sure that like in my surroundings, I have like a good set of Pacific Islanders. I have a good set of Tongan women in my space, and like luckily I do have that for myself. And so my suggestion for other Tongan women or other Islander women to find your group of people to be able to laugh with, to cry with, and people who can just listen if you need somebody to listen or offer advice. Yeah, like never look past the strength of what a community can offer.
As a mother, and we think about the importance of, passing on that cultural knowledge and that history and stories that were passed down to you from your parents and grandparents and so on. How are you navigating that space in terms of, motherhood, and you've got your own kids to think about, but then also keeping in mind, there's always a lot of talk around like intergenerational trauma and all of that. There's so many layers to these stories that we try and pass on or are passed on to us. So that was a big explanation. But as a mother, how do you deal with that or navigate that space?
I think like the things that I want to pass on to my kids are like really what are things that strengthen our community, and not just teaching my daughter how to be like pro Tongan women, but also teaching my son like to be pro Tongan women is to be pro Tongan, to be anti Tongan women is to be anti Tongan overall. And so like really teaching them how to embrace and love people despite their gender, their race, how they who they love. I think those are such important parts of the Tongan culture that sometimes we only leave that up to specific genders to do. And when really, like, that's for all of us to do. And one thing about, like, my kids is they do operate as people who are Tongan and white, and so, like, they like, I'm very upfront with the privileges they have and how they benefit, and what it's like to recognize colorism and how to, really be co-conspirators with other races and genders and all that stuff. And so I don't think those are just like progressive Western views. I think those are indigenous views to the Pacific. And like a lot of times people will gaslight you thinking, like, making it seem like it's not because of the chokehold that Christianity has on like the culture. But yeah, I think recognizing our our love for the people, for the moana, and for like our own kainga is a beautiful way in passing down the culture and making sure that the culture is upheld. So
I wanted to talk about your research, your thesis. You kind of already touched upon. You mentioned, Pacific College athletes, in the US, and could you share a little bit about
yeah,
your research and why it was important for you to raise awareness around this?
yeah. Okay, so I did a master's in education at UVU, Utah Valley University, and I really wanted to look at where majority of us are in college. And again, a lot of the Pacific Islander demographic in college are guys, and largely because they are athletes. So you have college teams recruiting Pacific Islanders to come play sports for them, primarily for football. And with new recent US laws allowing for college athletes to be offered deals and contracts by brands, that was recently changed. And I was looking at like the research, and Pacific Islander athletes are like the lowest, if not, they do not have like these contracts like other athletes that enter into college. And so like my whole push was I wanted to see these athletes do well in college, not only athletic wise, but like do well with contracts and being able to have money. Because like I know like that type of resource tends to spread across their families as well, in which they can help their parents and all that stuff. And so like I push for a curriculum that could teach Pacific Islander athletes on signing contracts in college.
Has research like this, like around Pacific athletes, has it been done before? Has there been discussion about this before, or do you know, like not so much?
So like currently nothing has ever been done with name, image, and likeness specifically for Pacific Islanders. Most research that is done for athletes is done about like their unfair practices that they have to attend, and like them not being able to have a full-time job because they have to commit like their time to the university. In return, the university pays for their schooling. But if you look at it, the cost for getting your tuition paid for, like $3,000 a semester, is nowhere near what you could possibly make just working at a regular job. And so like the compensation is not fair or equivalent. And so yeah, like this research hasn't been done yet. This is kind of like first of its kind. But yeah, it's kind of just taken a backseat a little bit since like me moving into a PhD program, because I've kind of shifted modes to really focus on building space for ᴘᴏᴟᴘᴇ in academia. So yeah.
Tell us more about that. You're currently a PhD student. I mean, fam, hello. We have an academic, a scholar right here. Strong woman, Tongan, Polynesian, Pasifika, just out there smashing it. Share a little bit about your, the shift in your studies and more of what you're focusing on now.
Yeah, so like my PhD work has shifted to really hone in on like the ladies in academia and how they experience college and school. Because if you look at it, a lot of times in Tonga, like the schools are split up according to gender. And when you exist in the middle, like how does your schooling experience like change? Because like most of the times people who identify as a lady are often like in space with women most of the time. And so that doesn't translate to their education experience though. They still have to go with the men and with the boys. And a lot of them, like some will experience sexual assault being in these areas. And it's hard to have like these tough conversations when like people think that that the conversation is disrespectful. So so I'm highlighting like what is the experience of ladies in the diaspora, and do they feel like they're accepted at school, and how are there ways that they don't feel accepted, and are they more vulnerable to getting detentions? And because in the United States a lot of these detentions lead to what we know as the incarceration system. So it's a framework that goes by the school to prison pipeline. And so like my work goes across to highlight ladies and what their relation is with the school to prison pipeline. And so I've taken Yuki Kihara's Samoan Queer Lives.
Oh, yes.
And like I've highlighted points of like queer folks being in trouble with the law and how that looks like. And so just trying to like utilize the material we have to create more material, quality material. So yeah, that's been like my PhD program so far.
Exciting. And how many years are you planning to, how many years in total are you working towards, or is it just kind of like take
it's
it
like
one step at a time? 5 years. It will fly by.
Oh, I hope so. Like I'm only in my first year, so I'm like, oh.
I'm excited for you. That's awesome. I look forward to hearing more about it, seeing what you're putting out there on your social media platforms, and sharing with your followers. That's so cool. On campus, I mean, generally, are there a lot of, do you see a lot of other Pasifika folks on campus, or even in, I mean, you did a master's in education, are there a lot, you mentioned there are a lot of athletes, but like, do you see people who look like you? Were there lecturers, I don't know.
Yeah, like the nice thing is at the University of Utah, they have a Pacific Island Studies department, and they're trying to like extend it into an actual degree. So you could come to the university and receive a Pacific Island Studies bachelor's, and they're trying to create one for a a master's program. And so, yeah, I've been really fortunate to work under like professors like Dr. Vaughn and who's like a Kanaka Maoli scholar,
Mm,
and then as well as Dr. Mila Irvin, who is another Kanaka Maoli scholar. And so I s- I am also part of like this big Tongan PhD women's group where
oh,
it has like Dr. Fui Fui Lupe, and then we have Dr. Likava. I mean, it's just like such an incredible space, Dr. Tue One. And it's like a queer space and a women's space. Like it's the space that um that we've dreamed about, you know? And
mm,
so yeah, I feel fortunate to see people like me who might not be at the University of Utah, but like we've learned how to find each other and work together.
mm. Will your research require you to like perhaps travel back to the homeland, or you know, or
Mm.
is it mostly going to be based in the US?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like this conversation of Lathies and Lathies education rights is so taboo for
Mm,
like within the culture, Tongan culture. Um, but like I don't know if I will go back there, but I definitely will be traveling around to study like these in like big Tongan communities here in the States. So like
mm,
California and Seattle and just gathering stories.
mm. Is
Yeah.
there a big Tongan community there in Utah? Or,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
are there other like Samoans and
Yeah.
Fijians and other, yeah?
Yeah. So like there's large Tongan and Samoan communities, majority of them coming from like a Mormon background.
Ah, of course.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Mm. You know, I saw this tweet. I saw two. One, I mean, I saw many of your tweets, but I also saw you retweeting yeah, the Pacific Studies at the University of Utah. I was like, yo, that's so cool. I never would have, you know, I was like, wow, there are others out there. I thought that was very cool. I think there was like a podcast link or something like that,
Yeah.
which I thought was really nice to you know, we uplift and share that kind of
Yes.
stuff, you know, because if we don't, who will? So I thought that was really cool. But I did see another tweet. I was like, kind of laughing, and then I was like, wait, hang on a minute. But you said, laughing when people view me as being on the top for pursuing a PhD, when the institution sees me as the bottom of the barrel, LOL perspective. And that was interesting because I feel like many people feel that, like experience that. And yeah, I saw that. I was going through the tweets and I was like, oh,
Mm.
made me think. um, yeah, just the
Sometimes people
expectation that we're
think
here,
yeah,
but
sometimes people think that you have it all, you
mm,
know, and they don't realize like what you have to do in these spaces to be there,
mm,
and that sometimes like being in these spaces can be like very traumatizing
mm,
because like you're either the only one and then you're also trying to carve out space for yourself and
mm,
remind yourself that you can do it. But lots of people like to put these labels on as you're just making it in the world and again like social media is so curated, you know, people
mm,
never show you like the hardship, the challenges in their life.
mm,
And and so like that was kind of one of the reasons why I was like, you know, it's not a PhD is not cracked up what it's all out to be.
mm.
There are challenges though.
Mm. Yeah, it really made me think because what I wanted to ask you was when you're in these spaces, navigating these spaces as a student, as a learner, but at PhD level, do you find that you have to put on your your Palangi voice, your DC culture, dominant culture voice sometimes, or are you just always hardcore Pauline, just 200 strong Polynesian woman?
I do feel like what you see of me online, you'll see me in person. It's hard though because like I do get like the angry colored woman stereotype because people are not used to like other women of color pushing against them and like challenging them and asking them to rethink like some of the things that they're saying. And when you're bringing up nuance and like challenging the norm that people have decided what is okay to know, people don't like you. And so but I really like try to put myself first and remember that I need to like myself first, and that if other people don't like me, that has nothing to do with me liking myself. Like I still I still love me. Yeah.
Important. Yeah, very important. Good point. I wanted to talk about vision board.
Okay.
So vision board, I think I read you said it's a passion. It's been a passion since 2006, but started in 2019. Fam, for those watching on YouTube, for those who are listening via the podcast platforms, check out the bio, which has all the links to different ways that you can connect with Pauline, not just with her research work, but also her work as the creator of Vision Board. It's a platform that is speaking existence into Pasifika culture through limited edition t-shirts. She draws inspiration from literature from around Oceania and indigenous spaces, as well as issues that you advocate for. Let me stop and let you tell the story. But Vision Board, creator of Vision Board, tell us this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I created this shirt called Polynesian Women Are Dope. That was like the first shirt that I created. Just because like I really felt people needed to know that, people needed to Polynesian women needed to hear that we're dope and that, we do tough things and so like I only thought that it was only gonna have like a few people like it. And I told myself like I'm just gonna put $200 towards this t-shirt thing and make a shirt each month. And slowly I was building like a gradual following. And what really set it off was when Dinah Jane from what was previously known as Fifth Harmony put on my shirt, and when she wore it, it just went crazy viral. And so like I've had a few people like the Rock's daughter, Simone, wear my shirt, and then I've had like a few wrestler women wear my shirt, and it's just been an incredible journey with the vision board. And it really is to like take things that are taboo and make it and normalize it, like normalize like our stereotypes and really lean into like the amazing things that are about us and empower like our Pacifica community. So yeah.
Check it out, fam. The link to the website, you can follow via Instagram, you can follow via Facebook, and the website is also in the bio links. Follow the sis, check out the limited edition t-shirts and just the empowering, inspirational messages. Buy shirts for your sisters. If not, buy one for yourself, whatever. Just follow and, be part of the movement. Oh, vision for the future. What is your vision for Vision Board? Where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah. I honestly hope like I can start like releasing books in the future for the vision board, because like literature is so important, and I'm hoping that like I can have a book that really discusses some of like my short ideas, on climate change, as well as like Polynesian, like dope Polynesian women, and like talk about some amazing women within our Pasifika community, but then really empowering people, like having kids see themselves in education and seeing themselves like that they contribute and that they're smart too. So yeah.
Write that book, put it out there, we put you on blast. You know how it is. So
Yeah.
important. That's what we're here for, to uplift and support that kind of work. Anyone, just for our people, Um, you're in terms of advocacy, like activism. You've mentioned about community and how that's super important. Are there any organizations that you're like, in your own community there, or that you are currently, that you currently speak and advocate for? Are there any organizations or people that you would like to highlight at this point of the podcast? Just kind of like put the word out there in terms of the work that's been done, and the impact, being intentional and being impactful, taking social action, all of that social justice.
Yeah. I mean, just advocating for climate change um, and indigenous solidarity. And a lot of that comes through like our relationship with the land. And so I'm excited, like this upcoming planting season, really going to lean into like the community gardens in our area in hopes to um, just build better relationships with the indigenous folks here, but also make sure that we're being good to the land. So yeah.
You also, Free West Papua, uh, you know, always raising awareness. You actually have a t-shirt, Free West Papua. I checked that out on the website, fam. Can you speak a little bit to the genocide in West Papua, and how we can support and get on board and advocate for West Papua folks?
Yeah. Currently, one of the big things that West Papuans have asked us to do is on December 1st, like raise their flag, and to always recognize them as a people that have experienced genocide from Indonesians, and that a lot of their land is being exploited due to like the riches, that the natural resources that are within their land. And so some of the things that are happening in West Papua are like things that are also being extended into the Pacific, like mining the sea, and really trying to combat like islanders losing autonomy over their lands and their oceans. And so the cool thing about one thing that I learned, there's about several West Papuan students that attend the University of Utah. So we were able to just meet with them and talk with them of ways to better serve them, but also like ways to help get the message out about West Papua. And that's really like, from my understanding, a lot of West Papuans are asking is just to amplify their voices and to share like their accounts and all that stuff. So yeah.
So on Twitter, you can follow the hashtag. Oh, you can follow it on any social media account, right? Social media platform. For those who are watching, for those who are listening, just look up the hashtag Free West Papua. Get on board. Share where you can on your social media platforms. West Papua is like in the backyard, and the neighbors to the Pacific, to New Zealand and Australia. Responses from the rest of the world. It's very complex discussions that go on around West Papua, but the genocide and what we've seen for not just recently, but for many, many years. So whatever way you can support and amplify the voices of our fellow West Papuans, please do that, wherever you can, when you can. So, another platform that I really want to highlight, I've done this before when I had Lilika on the show, but I want to again bring to the fore OKT Talanoa platform, super, super important. What are some, could you just, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about this platform, this community, and what you have taken away from it thus far?
So OKT is ᴘᴏᴑᴇᴅᴜ, and it is a platform that people use to come learn the Tongan language and to practice speaking it, and then everybody is welcome. We center Tongan voices, and we were given this name by Her Royal Highness ᴘᴏᴑᴇᴅᴜ, so that we can remember our love back to Tonga, and that we would return back one day. And so, it's just a free place to come and learn Tongan and learn Tongan culture and speak about being Tongan.
I went once, fam. I actually went. I went to listen to Pauline. She was speaking a little bit about her research about Pacific College athletes. It was very, oh man, I was just sitting there in awe. Actually, it was my non-contact period at school. I was doing something educational. I'm just saying. It's not like I was wasting time. Anyways, fam, check it out. It's in the link. Go to their link tree link on the Instagram, and you'll be able to follow up on any of their past talanoa that they've had. They've had some great guests on there. But yes, it's such a great community for all you Tongans that have not connected. Get in touch, get connected, get in community with your fellow people, probably your cousins. Who knows? Probably your extended family. Everyone's related, just like Samoans. So please, get on board. It's such a great initiative and platform. What can we expect from OKT's community in 2023, or are we still kind of trying to suss that out?
So we're really diving into speaking the language. So at first we used to just focus on doing a lesson to learn how to put sentences together. And so this year we're really focusing on just speaking, whether you can do it well or if it's broken language. We just want you to know it's a safe space to try. So
get amongst the fam. All our Tongan. Well, you don't even have to be Tongan. Okay, am I botsing it right now? Just inviting anyone. You do not have to be Tongan, fam. Get amongst it. The language weeks that they have in New Zealand. They have Samoan Language Week, Fiji. All the different Pasifika cultures, are celebrated on these special weeks, that they have. But don't wait for Tongan Language Week. Get amongst it. Start learning. If you're just a beginner, you got to start somewhere. We always talk on here about language revitalization. We talk about holding on to our history and maintaining that connection to the homeland. And so OKT Talanoa, get amongst it, fam. Okay, so self-care, you are busy, you've got your family, you're a PhD student, you probably are not even getting enough sleep. Am I right? No. I'm just how do you look after yourself? How do you take care of you?
I really try to I actually just limited the stuff like certain days that I won't do anything. So like I try to do all my days like on Monday and Wednesdays. But other than that, like I leave the other days just really open and don't try to overplan. So like that's just how I take care of myself, not try to overplan and leave things open. So I know that's not really an answer, but
No, it is. It is. I mean, it's different. Everyone who has been on the show to date shares it's so different. All busy folks, so different. So no, thank you so much for sharing. And I get a PVBC. I know you're a reader. I know you love literature. We have this platform, Pasifika Virtual Book Club. Again, another platform where they've had some amazing, inspirational guests, come on, share their writing, share the work that they are doing. It's a space where they advocate for and highlight our writers and scholars, researchers, academics. I mean, fam, I could go on about it, but if you're not connected with them, check the link out on the bio of the YouTube channel. Check them out. Again, they have a link tree as well. Yep, they do. And you can follow up on anything you've missed in the past. But what can we expect from the Pasifika Virtual Book Club this year? Is it changing a little bit because people say, oh, things are getting back to normal?
yeah.
Like what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, it makes me sad because I really love the virtual book club space. It was such a helpful place that really helped people get through the pandemic. And I'm hoping that like we can have probably 3 books this year where we can read. We've had like quite a few Instagram bookies come and lead the space, as well as we've had guest speakers who we've read from. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that eventually we can get started again. It's just people are so busy,
Yeah. So look out for that. I mean, it's such a great space. Yeah, you will not be disappointed for sure, and you'll find some good reads as well. So, do you
Yes.
have any book recommendations for us? It can be educational, it can be something that you're currently using for your research. Drop them.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Yeah, so again, like Someone Career Lives is one of like a really important book that has really altered the way I've thought about Pacifica queerness. And then another um, another group of writers is I'm really appreciating the book from are the writings of um, ᴘᴇᴅᴇᴅ, who is a scholar, and he's a Tongan scholar who he's from Utah as well. And so yeah, I've been liking his articles, and then I've also been liking Lana Lopesi, like her book about bloody women. I think that's such a empowering book. And then Jamaica Ozario is my forever love, man. Like I love her writing. And so defining our intimacies. So yeah.
We got some good, some great recommendations there, fam. We've even got some articles there. Check them out.
Yes.
Check them out. And so, as we try and as we're nearing the end of our talanoa, so many gems. I have a lot to process and think about after this. What dreams and goals you've mentioned? Some things that you're working towards, but what are you still pursuing and aspiring to achieve? Like,
Yeah, I would like to achieve like good health. And like not good health in a way that is like commodified or capitalized, but good health that helps us have good relations like with the land and ourselves. I think when we don't feel good or like whether it be physically or mentally, that can really impact the way that how you show up for people and how you show up for yourself. And so I think like um, seeing 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 good health, that is something I would really love to define. And like I'd love to figure out like what are indigenous practices of eating that are healthy and way of living. And I would love to like learn how to cook like that, you know?
Okay. Cool. How can we, I know you have a Venmo account. Well, first of all, let me just backtrack a little. How can folks find you, sis? How can they find you, follow you, find you, man? That just sounds right. How can they follow your work and your advocacy online?
Yeah. So you can I try to like keep it pretty uniform, so it's P Fonua too. So you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok.
That's right. I forgot about TikTok.
No, it's
Yes.
okay. Like my TikTok account, I really need to start doing something more with it. It's hard to like diversify yourself across platforms
Mm.
and give people something different that you don't give them on other platforms. But yeah, like I really try to stay up with the platforms because I know that's a way that we can link with younger generations.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, she has a Venmo account, fam. I've got the link in the bio. Use it. How can we support? Whatever way you can support her research and what Paulina is doing out there. Uh, check the links. You cannot go wrong. All the links will be there. Social media platforms, website, Venmo. Get amongst it. Help support a sister. Uh, you know, Polynesian women are dope. Okay, so as we round this off, I will give you an opportunity just to, close the show. But before we do that, sis, thank you. Fangirling. An hour later, still fangirling. I appreciate you so much. It's such an honor to share space with you. I have been watching you, following you for, seeing what you're doing for quite some time now, but trying to build up the courage to actually send the DM and send the mail and get that message to you. So finally built up the courage, and I'm so, so happy that I did that. And I'm really grateful and appreciative. I know, weekends are precious family time. So thank you so much for coming through, sharing a bit of your journey and your studies and your life. And I hope that whoever is watching, listening, can take some inspiration away from all the gems that you've dropped today. Wishing you all the best. 2023, who would have thought? Here we are, 2023. Plans, family, studies, your advocacy work, just all the best for this year. Wishing you love and light, good health, and a lot of yummy food, hopefully.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll just hand it over to you just to wrap up our show. Thank you so much, Pauline.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rosa. I feel so blessed to be here with you in this space. I've been watching you from afar as well and just been admiring the voices that you amplify as well as yourself. It's just so empowering. And I guess if there's something that I can leave everybody with is like what Teresa Tewa had shared is how powerful our ancestors were and how smart in which they organized the Pacific, and that we should never like belittle that, because to organize something so vast and so big is so powerful, and that could only have been done by Pacific people. And so whakamalo Alpito for this time and for inviting me to your podcast.